40 seconds for Kamini. And I think I lost it. I think 55 seconds for Adarsh and Prerna, somewhere together. You came together. So let's find out how much is your reading time. By the way, according to the book, the average speed for a person who is in college is 200 to 250 words per minute. So I'll give you how many words were covered in that para. Of course, it varies depending on the difficulty of the passage. But in general, 200 to 250, you are considered average. Now, if you consider the principles of speed reading, you can actually double or even triple your reading speed. And one of the first techniques that are discussed is reading with a sense of urgency. Now, we're filled in a world filled with information overload. We need to read a lot. And the one thing that the author suggests is whenever you read anything, have a sense of urgency. Look for things to skim out of that passage. And when you do that, you're more directed. You're not wandering around. Let's say you're going on a road. You're not looking here and there, but you're completely focused on the road itself where you're going ahead. So number one, read with a sense of urgency. Now I'll let you on the second secret. Before that, let's start the prepared speech segment. And today we have an icebreaker speech. The speaker is not attempting his first speech, nevertheless, it is his first speech in his third path, which is presentation mastery. To let you know what an icebreaker speech, I would like to call on our evaluator, Toastmaster Bidu, to read out what the objectives of an icebreaker speech is. Over to Toastmaster Bidu.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the day, Toastmasters Deepa. The target speaker is attempting level 1, project 1, the icebreaker speech from the pathway presentation mastery. The purpose of the speech is to introduce themselves to the club and also to learn the basic structure of public speech. I would definitely highlight again, as Toastmasters of the day highlighted earlier, that this is not the target speaker's first speech. He happens to be a seasoned speaker. That actually makes me more interested to know a bit deeper about our speaker. And it also gives a chance to a lot of non-members who are attending our meeting to know the speaker. For the timer, please note the timer is 4 to 6 minutes. With this, I wish the target speaker all the best.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bidu. Our first speaker is a singer. He was a university topper during his days. He's somebody who calls 3 different places his home: Saudi Arabia, Hyderabad, Bangalore. Nevertheless, we'd like to call him the Bangalore lad because he was born here. He's a disciplinarian in many accounts. He has a strict, regimented lifestyle, which is so envious. I'm so envious about the way in which he currently lives. And he is somebody who always tries to discipline us and gets Speech Weavers going and thriving and doing well. Our immediate past president, Toastmaster Joseph, is the first speaker for today who's trying his icebreaker speech. Please welcome our first speaker with a speech titled Reminiscence. Reminiscence by Toastmaster Joseph.
Joseph is
Everybody, for your information, Joseph sir is still logging in. He'll be joining in a minute or two. Meanwhile, we are actually free to go ahead with the second speaker as well, but I'd like to hear from the presiding officer.
I think we can. I just have to ask, check with our speaker 2, Toastmasters Devasis, if that is okay with you, if you want to go ahead first. He is affirmative on that. So we Toastmasters of the day, we can introduce speaker 2 ahead of speaker 1.
Yes. Yes, let's do that. For our second speech, we have a guest speaker from another club. To evaluate his speech, we have with us Toastmaster Shubhadeep. May I request Toastmaster Shubhadeep to please read out the objectives of speaker number 2.
Thank you, Deepa. So for the speech today, which Toastmaster Debashish is going to share with us, it's Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using vocal variety, body language, and enhance his speech. A couple of things about this speech. Number one is the member will present a well-organized speech on any topic. For the evaluator to, he or she will be watching the members' awareness of their intentional or unintentional movement and body language. Note distracting movements as well as movements that enhance the speech. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chooses. And finally, you'll be using this evaluation for speakers who have indicated that they want to evaluate it on body language or vocal variety. With that being said, over to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Our second speaker is a very interesting person with a varied interest in different subjects. He's a food lover, and he loves to associate with brilliant minds in the world. And he is one as well, because his interests include occult science, mysticism, neuroscience, human behavior, psychology, epigenetics, and human mind. By profession, he's a senior administrator in Wipro Limited, and he's also a Vedic astrologer. Now, call that interesting or what? His journey as Toastmaster is just 2.5 months, and he's already on his 4th speech. Please welcome Toastmaster Debashish with a speech titled The Power of Desire, Belief, and Expectancy. The Power of Desire, Belief, and Expectancy. Toastmaster Debashish.
If your desire is strong enough, you will appear to possess superhuman power to achieve. The power of desire is best encapsulated in this beautiful quote by Napoleon Hill. When it comes to desire, it's important to cultivate a burning desire for the outcome that you are seeking. To cultivate a burning desire means not to flip-flop on what you want. Think about this. If your mind is truly bringing everything is focused on, think about how often we flip-flop and confuse the mind. We might decide we want to have a vacation in the Bahamas. Then few weeks later, we read about some bad weather there. Then maybe some strong winds there. Then we know, I think it's not too safe to go there. Maybe I want to have vacation in Thailand instead. As we flip our minds this way, what happens, what is coming towards us moves away. Think about the scenario. You are in a restaurant and you show up and you ask the waiter for a menu. And the waiter says, these are all the amazing things you can order today. And you tell the waiter, you know, I think I like to have some pizza. The waiter says, no problem. I'm going to get your pizza. I'm going to talk to the chef. The chef and the waiter goes talk to the chef, and the chef says, wonderful. Make some pizza. So he starts putting the dough, putting on the pasta and the mozzarella, and then out of the restaurant, you call the waiter again, and you ask the waiter, actually I'm feeling kind of full. Maybe what I really want is tomato soup. Then waiter says, no worries. I'm going to cancel your pizza. I'm coming back with your tomato soup. Then waiter rushes again and talk to the chef. And chef says, no worries. Let me make some tomato soup. He put aside the pizza and he start making the tomato soup. And he will ask the waiter again, waiter, maybe not tomato soup. Maybe I will have just some spaghetti, something like that. The waiter says, no worries. I'm going to cancel your tomato soup. I'm coming back with your spaghetti. The waiter rushes off and talk to the chef, and the chef started boiling the spaghetti. Now think about the scenario, how absurd it is. Nobody would go to restaurants and be flip-flop on their desire, but who do that in life? Think about the scenario in the following way. Your order is your desire, is your goal. The waiter is your subconscious. The chef is your higher power, God, or higher intelligence, whatever you believe in, that brings your desires. Remember, whenever we try to manifest, then there needs to be a time gap. There needs to, otherwise every thought instantly will be manifested. And the time gaps, according to philosopher like Esther Hicks, gives you the opportunity to refine. But many of us, rather than refine our desire, rather than decide, all right, we want to go to the Bahamas, maybe we want to have this type of hotel or this type of travel, and we completely flip our desire. We change our mind over and over and over again. So the trick to a burning desire, to carefully think about on what you want, write it down and put it on a vision board and focus on it and make it clearer and clearer and clearer, and to stay with it. That is what means to have a burning desire. Now, how do you know that your desire is going to manifest? That is belief. Belief is a very powerful tool. When you believe that you can move towards a goal, when you believe that you can achieve something, you draw to achieve superhuman abilities to make it so. The human mind is a spark of the Almighty consciousness of God. I can show you, whatever your powerful minds believes intensely, it will come to pass very instantly. Paramhansa Yogananda. I love the line by Yogananda. Yogananda, in his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, said that the human mind is such a powerful capacity to save the world. And he example in that book that how his mind did that so. Interestingly enough, Steve's Autobiography of a Yogi, the book became the Steve Jobs' favorite book. When Steve Jobs was at his deathbed and Walter Isaacson was interviewing him, what books do you read on your iPad? And Jobs shows the number one book, that the Autobiography of a Yogi. So many remarkable people across the world seem to believe in this idea, including Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, at his famous Stanford University commencement address, said that listen to your heart and intuition. The somehow already know who you want to become. And isn't that beautiful? He's so aligned with that spiritual philosophy of Joe Silva. And Jobs, of course, went on to build the first global $1 trillion company, Apple. I used to believe that these are the ideas. People who are performing peak of their potential are using these ideas. So the moral here is your belief will determine your reality. But how do you know that your belief is on point? How do you know what you're focusing on is aligned with your capacity to believe? Well, that comes to the third part. Remember, it's desire, belief, and expectancy. Expectancy means when you come out of meditation, you just know the results are coming. In other words, you live and you walk your life in such a way, expecting the end result. Expectancy is a powerful force. We talk about Steve Jobs. Let me give you another example. Prior to Jobs, built the biggest company in America. His name is Sam Walton. And if you read his book, his biography, there is a beautiful line by Sam. Sam Walton said this: I always expect good things to happen. Thinking like this often turned into a self-fulfilling prophecy. What Sam Walton was saying that he always lived the life expecting the best is as if he was blessed by the universe. And Sam Walton, of course, built the biggest company of his generation, Walmart. Expectancy is a powerful force. The question is though, why? Well, the concept of law of resonance. It's not the law of attraction that brings the reality towards us. It's the law of resonance. So says Michael Beckwith. In other words, you will not get the outcome on what you want by doing the 3C technique over and over and over and over again. You will get the outcome if you do the meditation only one time and expect it to happen when you get out of meditation. That is what it means to have an expectancy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Debashish, for that speech. Definitely looks like you read a lot of biographies from what you said. So let's move ahead with the next speech. But then, what about secret number 2 of speed reading? So we know that reading with a sense of urgency was secret number 1. What is the secret number 2 is understanding the main themes of the writing. For example, when we read any book, if we look at the titles, the subtitles, just skim through them first and then go through the content. I don't know how many of you do that, many of them do that as a habit, but some of us just go with the beginning and then we keep going. So skim for the titles, subtitles. In that way, you know what to look for in a bit of a text. It helps us skim out what is important. We also find out what the author is trying to tell, and it becomes easier to grasp things. So secret number 2 is skim the important matter by looking at the titles, subtitles before you start reading. So now let's move ahead with our speaker who was supposed to be the speaker number 1. Like I said, a disciplinarian, someone who I admire a lot, the way his lifestyle, especially a strict diet, regimented things to do in the morning, evening, he owes it to his parents and his upbringing. He was raised in a military family. So please welcome our very charming speaker number 1, who's going to be giving his icebreaker speech from his part number 3, which is presentation mastery, with the speech title Reminiscence. Reminiscence, Toastmaster Joseph.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible.
Am I audible?
You're audible, sir.
Join the club of octogenarian by the grace of Almighty God. Life before marriage, it was ignominious darkness. Death ruled the family. Lost my mother at 4, father at 19. He was a British officer in the military. He came and died in the peace area. Before I could reach 30 years, most of my elders, including grandmother, uncle, aunt, everybody died except one person was the last breadwinner. He paralyzed before I could complete my education. With concerted effort, I completed my 2 degrees, science and engineering, and topped the university. During this time, in the midst of all darkness, there is a little bit of romance. Love thy neighbor as thyself, that was the said. We, like a Romeo and Juliet, met when the whole world was sleeping. And we parted. Unlike Romeo and Juliet, the death parted us, but in life, we parted for no reason. Then again, after marriage, I was in Hyderabad. The marriage was in Bangalore because the girl is from Bangalore. She brought sunshine and glory to my life. All the darkness was evaded. Gifted with 3 children. We decided, let us upbring our family in a better way with a shortcut method of living. Went abroad to Saudi Arabia where there is more sunshine, but my wife was not with me. 30 years I spent there without her, coming only for the annual vacation and going. Then finally, what did I do? The job I loved, it was a wonderful job, a consultancy, billions of dollars, responsibility, everything was there, good award and accolade from the client all the time. One thing, stress, had a bypass. My wife saved me before I could have an heart attack with the immediate cardiac treatment and all those things. Again, there was a 80% block. Again, God healed me without any surgery or anything. Now what happened? Came back with good health and all to the job again. And during that period of time, my wife she was building an empire. She was like a Chanakya. She made an empire. I had to rule that one. She was the good administration, financial stability also. We celebrated her 11 birthday because she gave me so much of help during my sickness and I recovered my health. Then what happened? Retired from the service and came back in 2012. I was about to go to Singapore for consultancy services to have a startup. All of a sudden, she lost her eye. Then I took her to the hospital. The doctor said, take MRI and I will restore the next eye. I told my people and I went back to Singapore, only to come back that she was collapsed. When she collapsed, I left everything and came back to India and looked after her for 8 months. God wanted her so that he wanted an angel in the heaven. She departed on the eve of Christmas, 24 Eve. My life was shattered. Like Shah Jahan, looking at the grave throughout his life. So also I constructed a graveyard as for 2 tier, where I am also have a place there, going every day to the graveyard to pray for her soul. Come back home, 2 years mourning. Later on, I joined the civic authorities as a technical advisor to the chief engineer. That could not last because of knee pain. Again, with the help of yoga, I came back to the normal, walk everywhere. And then finally, I joined the Toastmaster. The Toastmaster gave me a big relief. It's always working with the elites, all youngsters, like as a family and children. So I thought that Toastmasters is the ideal place for me. I'm continuing to live connected with my heart to my children of family of Toastmasters and really enjoying the life. One thing I would like to say is this. जीना यहाँ मरना यहाँ इसके सिवा जाना कहाँ जीना यहाँ मरना यहाँ इसके सिवा जाना कहाँ जी चाहे जब हमको आवाज दो हम है वहीं हम है जहाँ अपने यहाँ दोनों जहाँ जिसके सिवा जाना कहाँ. Over to you.
Please give him a standing ovation as we do for every icebreaker speech here at Toastmasters. Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph, for bringing in those emotions. I could see you were choking with emotion, and that attachment you have with your wife was clearly evident. You know, as I always tell, every conversation that I have with Joseph Sir, as I fondly call him, lands up him speaking about his dear wife. And it's a partnership that I haven't seen in years. I mean, it's a wonderful partnership, gives us all couple goals. Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph, for inspiring us and setting us some goals for ourselves as well. And that was a brilliant speech and a great song as well. A big round of applause to you. Now we will move to the next segment of the meeting, which is the table topics segment. Now we have a very seasoned Toastmaster, a distinguished Toastmaster with us to host this segment. She's from the royal city of Mysore, and she's a corporate trainer, communication, public speaking coach, EI and soft skills trainer, keynote speaker, yoga and energy healer, psychology mentor, crypto quip compiler. I got to ask you what that is after the meeting. Storyteller. And she's touched 130,000 lives from 18 nationalities with 147 corporate clients over the last 20 years. So we have with us a formidable Toastmaster who's going to be hosting the segment. Please welcome distinguished Toastmaster Kavita M. Prakash over to the virtual stage with a big round of applause.
Aha, thanks so much. Thank you for that beautiful song. I'm still in the hangover. I'm still going with that lilt of the melody. It's such a beautiful song. And right, yeah. I think I need a minute to recover from the speech that you gave us. Thanks so much for sharing your personal life with us. Well, okay, so we have to make a transition now. Well, this is one of the most vibrant segments, which will have the elements of a typical blockbuster movie, right? So we are looking at some drama, some action, some romance, some humor, and whatnot. Are you all ready, everyone? Fantastic. Thanks so much. And we have a very good mix of demographics, young, old, middle, all age groups. So I have a list of topics for you. However, before we get to the topics, I will give you two instructions. Okay. Let us make sure that we use the word of the day per use, PERUSE. That means going through something deeply or trying to understand something that you read. All right. So please make an effort to use the word of the day. Let us make the grammarian happy today because he has made an effort to pull out or cull out a very beautiful word for us. The next instruction or request that I have is that all the table topic speakers will be given 2 minutes. And the cards will be shown at 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and 2 minutes. However, you can wrap up at 2.5 minutes. Right? So with these two guidelines set in place, let's begin the fun segment. All right. So I want someone who reads books regularly. Okay. All right. I think Deepa already made that note and we had some responses. From the responses, I think we have Saurav who reads regularly. Saurav, are you on camera?
Toastmaster Kavita, Meena just raised her hand, so we can.
Okay, fantastic. Right. Thanks so much because I'm on a phone. I can only see 4 people. Adarsh, you will have to help me with that. All right. So Meena, hi.
Hello.
Yeah. So what do you do? You're a student?
No, I'm a working professional with 6 years of experience.
Oh, fantastic. Right. Nice to meet you. So I've got 7 topics here, just like the rainbow. Okay. So you want to choose 7 colors, 1 color of the out of the 7 colors, or you want to choose a number?
Number?
1 to 7. 1 to 7. Okay. You're making your life easier. Which number would you want? 1 to
5.
7. 5. Okay. Does this happen to be your favorite number?
I do not know. It just came into my head.
Okay. So from my list of topics, I'll just give you one really freaky topic. All right. Just give it a try. You can do a humorous touch or an action or a suspense, whatever it is. So let us say you are on a vacation and you go to some rare island. And as you explore into the island, you enter a cave and you see some very weird cave paintings. And just to impress Deepa, you want to read those cave paintings, right? Because she's been talking so much about reading for us. Now, what were written, what was the message from the cave paintings that you saw there? You can cook up your own story.
Okay, this reminds me of famous 5 and famous 4 kind of novels that I read in my childhood. So to start with, me, Deepa, Joseph, Adarsh, Debashi, Kavita, all of us were traveling in a boat. And while we were traveling, a storm hit our boat. Out of nowhere, when I opened my eyes, I realized I was on an island. I was confused because I do not know to swim. How did I land here? I do not have any lifesaver jackets. How did I land here? And I turn around, I see Deepa. I just was so curious. I wanted to go and tell her what happened to us. How did we land here? I wake her up. I keep waking her up. She speaks something in her dreams, which I do not understand. I continue my efforts and then I realize I do not find the other people. So I have to find them. How do I find them? I end up searching. I just start, take up trails, which is available. And then I find a cave. In front of the cave, I see Adarsh trying to decode to open the cave. And I felt, okay, we should use open Kulja Sim Sim. Then we can try to open this cave. So I told, then Joseph sir joined me and we opened the cave to see Debashish was already in the cave. I was confused. What is happening? And then I turn around and I see Deepa behind me. I was really confused. How is all this happening? And then I touched the cave. The lights were on the stone. And I felt, let me see what it is. I could see the sense of some writings, which took me back to my previous generation. And none could believe it. So I tried reading what I had read in my previous life. And it ended up as live your day to the fullest. And I told this to Deepa, but she had no expression. Deepa, do you believe this? Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Okay, thank you, Meena, for taking us on that island and getting us there. But you pulled me into the story. But what did I do? Did I also read those cave paintings? I'm not too sure. However, I think it's time for us to get another person. While we are also getting lost on an island and be with Meena, we'll move on to another topic. So this time, I want someone who believes in superheroes. Adarsh, can you tell me if any volunteers we have?
There is someone that I think I know that believes in superheroes more than anybody else, and that has to be our presiding officer himself.
Bidu. Bidu, right?
Yes.
Okay, here you go, Bidu. All right. So I'm not asking you.
You're on mute, DTM Kavita.
No, I'm not on mute. Can't hear me?
Just repeat. I think we lost your words.
Okay, fine. It could be the internet connectivity. All right. So Bidu, since I already know that you believe in superheroes, or at least fascinated by superheroes, I want you to think for 2 minutes that you are a superhero and you have a superpower. And that superpower is of reading minds. So whose mind would you like to read here and what does it say? Your superpower is reading minds. Whose mind would you like to read here and what does it say? Over to you, Bidu.
I would have preferred to read my mind because we live in a world where a lot of information are thrown at us and we keep on thinking differently at different points of time. And if you ask us who we are, it's very difficult to answer. So I would have probably seen my mind from a third person point of view and seen how I am from a different perspective. But it's also a scary thing to know yourself too much, because then you probably either want to change or you want to stay the same over a longer period of time. But in case if I have to read someone else's mind, I would like to read my mentor Deepa's mind, because she has been a part of Toastmasters for a very, very long time. And I would like to know what she wants to achieve further, because I feel she has achieved a lot. And for a person who has achieved a lot, I want to know what keeps them driving even further. And when she is in a group of super achievers, whenever she is participating in contest, what goes in her mind? Because you can be best in a group of people who are not so good, but when you are in a group of people who are actually achieved a lot, how do you, better yourself in that situation? So I would go and read her mind. Thank you. Hand over to you.
What does her mind say?
Is it still for me?
Yes, it's still the green card. Just one line.
What does the mind say? I did not get it.
Deepa's mind. What did you read in Deepa's mind?
I think she feels that we should keep pushing ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves at any given point of time.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Bidu. You did fantastic justice to the topic. So you took the meta role, looking at a third-person perspective of your own mind. I think that was a fantastic take. Well, at some point, I felt you were playing safe by reading your own mind. And however, you jumped on and said you would like to read your mentor's mind and what would be going on in her mind when she's preparing for a contest or she super exceeds her excellence performance. So I think that was fantastic. You wrapped up and also gave a message as if you were reading Deepa's mind. Fantastic. Thanks so much for that perspective. All right. So here we go. Now, I want someone who usually likes to organize things and get everything in place and make sure that everyone benefits from that organizing or whatever it is. So, Adarsh, can you help me out?
That is a very difficult question for me. I think you're free to go ahead and pick anybody of your choice from the room.
Okay, so it will be you.
Oh, me.
You have been the past president also, right?
No, the past VPE, actually.
Past VP. Oh, fantastic. So that makes it even more viable for my option. And yeah, so here is your take. All right. So the situation for you is you have plans of organizing a book reading club. I repeat, a book reading club. And you can give it a name, an interesting jazzy name, so that it makes it easy for you to campaign and get members recruited to your reading club. Your job now is to campaign for membership to your book reading club. Your time starts now. Adarsh.
13 of you in this room. I'd like all of you to come very close to me because I have a very nice secret for you. You know what? It's not exactly a secret. It's actually an open secret where I'd like to tell all of you that I'm opening a book club. Yes, you heard me right. It is a book club where all of us are going to study the art of perusal reading, which happens to be the word of the day today, by the way. Now, you might wonder, what is the name of this club exactly? Well, I don't know the name of the club, but I am going to name it right now. The name of the club will be the Perusal Book Reading Club, featuring your grammarian Toastmaster Adarsh. I'd like to welcome Toastmaster Deepa, Toastmaster Malia, Toastmaster Dwani, Toastmaster Prerna, Toastmaster Debashish, and everybody in this room to my very own book club. Now you might wonder, what is it that we're going to do in this book club? There are like thousands of clubs out there, if I'm not wrong. Well, at this very book club, we are not going to entertain the art of speed reading, but instead we're going to entertain the art of perusal reading, that all of us sit down and skim through each page of the book one by one, while not being criticized for taking too long. Toastmaster Dwani will benefit from this because from what I hear, she takes 6 months to read a book. Toastmaster Dwani, at this club, you can take as much as 1 year and you won't be criticized whatsoever. Toastmaster Malia, I'm not exactly sure as to how long you take to read a book, but if you're going to take 2 years, then you're free to go ahead, be my guest. I'd like all of you to know in this room that we are going to be at this book club called the Perusal Book Club, and we're going to research and study for as long as we want, and we're going to see to it that we provide people with the best of knowledge. And Toastmaster Adarsh is going to spearhead this book club in the best way I possibly can. And all of you are free to join this revolution. Back to you, Toastmaster Kavita.
Thank you so much, Adarsh. And you were very smart as the grammarian to push your own word of the day, and you even took the liberty to name it with the word of the day. So that was a very smart move. And I think you already have 2 recruits, Dhwani and Malia. Make sure you make them pay up and join your book club. Peruse it. All right. Thanks, Adarsh. So we have the last take on one very interesting topic. For this, I would want someone who can be a client to Debashish, the astrologer. Someone who can be a client to Debashish, the astrologer. Who would like to volunteer? Adarsh, can you help me?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Bidu, but you already finished one turn.
We have Kamini. Kamini, are you
Okay,
there?
fine. Okay, so Kamini.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Okay. So now we're going to have a conversation between our astrologer Debashish and Kamini, the client. She has come with a horoscope, and Debashish will read the horoscope for her. It can be any story that you want to tell her, and let's see what she feels about your reading of the horoscope. Are you ready for this, Debashish?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Kamini, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's have some fun.
So, astrologer Debashish, of late, my life is kind of topsy-turvy and things are not going the way I wanted them to. I feel stuck and I don't exactly have an idea as to why is this all happening. I mean, one part going wrong is okay, second part going wrong is okay, but everything at the same time, it's really making me frustrated. There are these bouts of depression which come to me and I just feel like running away. Could you guide me? What is the reason behind this?
Sure, Kamini. The data you have given me according to date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth, I see that your ascendant is Aquarius and also your moon sign is also Aquarius.
Hold on. Are you sure? Because I went to someone else and he said that I'm a Piscean. No, actually a cusp. What is a cusp? I don't understand. They say last day of some month and the first day of some other month. I mean, it's so confusing, but you're saying something else. Who do I believe?
Okay, so can you tell me what is your date of birth?
It's 20th March. You want the year as well?
Yes, because time and date of birth is important and as well as the place of birth, because there is a longitude and a latitude change. The lagna will change because lagna change every 10 minutes. We have to make sure that the planetary position, every house is correct. Then I can use the divisional chart of this. There are 16 divisional chart for different kind of.
Is this astrology or is this some astronomical science that you're explaining to me?
See, Kamini, you can
I'm
believe
already
or
very
not,
worried.
but that we are living in the planet Earth. We are living in planet Earth and we have 9 planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So these are the planets that are affecting us. And the way they are affecting us is by our chakra system. We have 7 energy centers. They 7 planets are affecting the chakra system. This way astrology works.
Okay, so, but I don't have all the details. What I can do is I can go back and then get in touch with you over a call because I need to consult my mother for all these details that you're asking me. Anyway, thank you so much for your
Sure,
time.
Kamini. Sure, Kamini.
Thanks so much, Kamini and Debashish, for playing sport. And I request the timer to excuse them because it was 2 speakers and they may not have come within the limits of 2 minutes, 30 seconds. So you can still consider them for voting, please. So we had 2 speakers in the last round. And so Debashish, I got your client. And I'm sure many others here are also equally curious to get their horoscopes read and interpreted. And I'm sure you have something nice, foreboding to tell them. With this, I think we all had a great time in the table topics segment. And I had great fun too, handing out these topics to you and listening to all those wonderful stories, some concocted, some real, and some utterly fabulous. Over to the Toastmaster of the day, Deepa.
Wow, please give distinguished Toastmaster Kavita a big round of applause. I mean, she has the talent to bring out humor in us. Who could have thought that we had that capacity? Meena brought out humor, Debashish brought out humor, Kamini brought out humor. We were part of the famous five. You took us on an adventure today. Thank you so much for doing that. And now back to the meeting. Before we head out to evaluations, the third secret that I'm going to give out is pretty simple. Read a lot, practice a lot, because this is a skill. As every other skill, you need to read a lot, and that to speed read a lot to get the hang of speed reading. So anytime you pick the newspaper, anytime you pick the magazine, anytime you pick a textbook, anything for that matter, read with a sense of urgency, pick out the titles, subtitles, where is the author going? What is the main subject? What is he trying to tell? Grasp the main things. That is the basics of speed reading. There's many other things covered in this wonderful book called How to Read Faster and Better by Norman Lewis. I highly recommend you buy this book and go through it. It does take a lot of months to get into the habit of speed reading, I must say. But then he speaks about how you fixate the eye and other techniques. You know, usually we tend to, we have to go slide our eyes through the text. But usually what we do as readers, we go back, we come ahead, we go back, we come ahead, which is where we lose our time. So that and pretty much many other interesting things are covered in this book. Now, with that, 3 secrets are out, many more secrets to be unearthed by you. Let's move ahead to the evaluation segment. And may I call on stage the general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Malia, to please come on stage and take control.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa, for this very informative and enriching session. I'd like to do my general evaluation in chronological order from the beginning till the end of the meeting. However, unfortunately, due to my very poor network, I was not here for the SAA and PO's address, so I will not be able to evaluate you. So moving on to the next role taker, that is the TMOD. By asking questions in the beginning of the meeting, you totally set the mood, and having such activities which involve everybody into the meeting is a good idea, because out of the 3 sessions of a Toastmasters meeting, table topics are the only session where all guests can participate. So having all those activities and asking questions really is a good way to increase participation. The theme today, like I already mentioned, was great, and thank you for sharing it, 3 secrets with us. Your introductions, which you gave for the various role takers, were very apt, and the few comments that you had following each segment was also something that I was looking forward to. So as the TMOD, I think you've done your job to a dot, and you were the glue that held the meeting together. Thank you for being such a great TMOD. Now I'd like to start with the Taggle report. No, not the Taggle report, sorry, evaluation of the speakers. But before that, may I have the time taken only by the prepared speeches by Toastmaster Prerna, only the time taken by the 2 prepared speeches.
Hi, I'm the timer.
Toastmaster Deepa.
No, Dhwani.
Dhwani, I am so sorry.
No problem. Yes, so for the speaker 1, he took 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Speaker 1, Toastmaster Joseph. And speaker 2, Toastmaster Debashish, took 7 minutes, 5 seconds. You want me to go on with the table topics as well?
We'll come back to that later. Thank you. All right. Now I'd like to invite the first evaluator to please present the evaluation report for Toastmaster Joseph.
Thank you, General Evaluator, Toastmasters Malia. It is a task to evaluate something which is so personal, so emotional, and so dear to the speaker, because I'm for sure the speaker used both his heart and mind into preparing the speech and delivering it. Maybe a little bit more heart, but anyways, I will go ahead. Talking about the speech itself, the first impression, I think the impact was straight away very hard. It caught my attention. The losses were described by going through specific details of when he lost, which person and at what age. But as we went ahead in the speech, we got a glimpse of many ups and downs, especially the emotional ones. I got introduced to the romance of the speaker in a great way. There was very good vocal variety and a tonal shift when we moved from the losses to the young romance. And the impact of romance was especially accentuated and made palpable by usage of the names like Romeo and Juliet to emphasize what the speaker meant towards his romance. The other phrases like was used like Shahjahan to describe passing away actually elevated the speech in terms of emotional connect to all the audience. Just one point where I felt the speaker could have done differently was a phase when he described his romance. I felt he could have stressed it a bit further. A little bit of story or a little bit of anecdote could have helped, because I feel that part occupied a substantial part of his life, which he still is carrying. And some happy anecdotes, some jokes would have actually helped us peep into that side of the story. Also, the vocal variety, I would have urged him to be a little softer when he introduced the romance, because it came straight away after talking about all those tragedies. So a little bit of more softness would have been a soothing effect during that phase of the speech. Apart from that overall reaction, I would say it was a great story of his life, the entire journey of how his life transpired, the critical moments of his life, how he was moved by each one of them, and ultimately which led him to come and join the Toastmasters. Lastly, we as Toastmasters cherish your presence here every day, and congratulations on delivering your icebreaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bidu. Before evaluating the evaluator, I'd like to evaluate the speaker. I do agree with everything Toastmaster Bidu said. Strongest highlight of Toastmaster Joseph's speech was the emotion which he conveyed throughout, whether it be grief or whether it be romance. And the contradiction of both was really great to encounter. And the only suggestion I have, just like Toastmaster Bidu mentioned, was regarding the vocal variety. And perhaps another observation is maybe a better positioning of the camera. Moving it a little further away from you could have helped you to give us a little bit more in terms of delivery and body language. Besides that, you were a delight to listen to. Toastmaster Bidu, thank you for your crisp and short evaluation using the sandwich technique. One thing I really liked is the introduction that you gave in the beginning and the sweet words of motivation that you had towards the end. Your evaluation on all the points that you mentioned were great. Perhaps focusing a little bit more on the delivery part of Toastmaster Joseph's speech would have been better, because you focused your evaluation mainly on the content part. So can we have a round of applause for both the speaker and the evaluator? Next, we have our second speaker evaluator pair, that is Toastmaster Debashish and Toastmaster Subhati. I request the evaluator to please go on.
Hello, am I audible? So Toastmaster Debashish, what you excelled at today, okay, before I begin, first of all, I would like to congratulate and thank the speaker for showing his interest of yoga and also looping us through that autobiography. Definitely showed us his interest towards the mentioned or the set topic. So kudos to that. And then when I come to what you excelled at in today's speech is your enthusiasm, your dress etiquette, the appearance, and it also showed us that you have a deep peruse over reading books, which many of us don't, even at least I don't. Now coming to the few things that you can actually work upon and challenge yourself. And this is where I want you to take all that enthusiasm, that energy that you have while speaking and channel those things into the few recommendations that I'm going to share today. Number 1 is ROS, number 2 is MTI, and number 3 is use of articles. So being a Bengali myself, I understand that ROS, which is the rate of speech, increases extremely, it becomes extremely high while we speak. And this is my first challenge to you. Utilize pauses. The power of pauses is something else. Utilize that. That will make your listeners more adjusted. They will make them listen more to what you're saying. Second is MTI. Believe me, I have suffered from MTI for almost 5 years. So this is something I want you to challenge yourself again. And this ROS is entirely directly proportional to MTI. The moment you slow down your rate of speech, you will be able to overcome that as well. So this is your second challenge. And finally, article usage. The articles such as the, right? So we need to utilize them in the right places. So this is your third challenge, that is utilization of the articles properly while we are speaking. This is again proportional to the ROS, which is your first point. So overall, a good content, massive enthusiasm, and I'm sure once you challenge yourself with the few recommendations that I made, you will do wonders. Thank you, and over to the general evaluator.
Thank you. Congratulations, Toastmaster Debashish, for delivering your speech. I agree with what your evaluator said. Two more good points that I noticed was that firstly, you had a very theatrical voice and presence, and this increased the level of engagement that I had towards your speech. And secondly, one of the most important things in any speech is the call to action or the message. And that was very, very evident throughout your speech. Good job done there. One suggestion that I have is, especially because this speech or this project is focused on body language. I noticed that you had very good body language, but you were only using this part of your hands. So maybe using, this part, and that would make you feel more open. So that is what we call having an open body language. And since you had the screen space to do it, you could try doing that in future speeches. Coming to our evaluator, the highlight of your evaluation were the very, very specific and helpful points of improvement you mentioned, and also how to carry forward with them. You had a holistic evaluation covering several aspects. And kudos to you for giving a warm congratulations at the beginning, because that really motivates the speaker. One suggestion is because Toastmaster Debashish is only in his first level, maybe you could focus a little bit more on his positives and a little less on the aspects of improvement of his speech. So can we have a round of applause for the second speaker and evaluator? Okay, now I'd like to move on with the rest of the Taggle report. Toastmaster Dhwani, over to you.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. So with that, let me take that tell the timings about the table topics and the evaluator, since I've already spoken about the speakers. Everybody is on time, so I want everybody to clap for themselves. Everybody was well aware about their time limit, and hence, just a second, right? Yeah, and hence, Toastmaster Meena took 2 minutes 10 seconds. Toastmaster Bidu at table topics took 1 minute 21 seconds. Toastmaster Adarsh took 1 minute 59 seconds. Toastmaster Kamini took 2 minutes 31 seconds. Then our evaluator, Toastmaster Bidu, took 2 minutes 7 seconds, and Toastmaster Shubhadeep took 2 minutes 15 seconds. So everybody is well within time. Congratulations to everybody. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dhwani, for the flawless execution of your role, and congratulations to all of us for being on time. Next, let's move on to the Accounters report with Toastmaster Prerna.
I shall just present my report once again. Can the host allow me?
Give me 1 minute.
Louder.
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Firstly, I want to say that I could notice very less usage of the like, but and other repeats. So I'll just start with Toastmaster Bidu. I couldn't notice much. Toastmaster Deepa had quite few hours, and Toastmaster Shubhadeep I could not notice. Toastmaster Debashish was flawless. Toastmaster Joseph was also flawless. Toastmaster Kavita, she had few and well. Toastmaster Meena had few and she had a few repeats with and then. And lastly, we had Toastmaster Malia with few one suggestion that we can follow to reduce the usage of is to follow the power of the pauses. We can pause before speaking. This will help us to reduce the usage of us, like, but, and so this will help a lot. Thank you so much. Over to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prerna, for your concise report and for even giving us suggestions. And kudos to all of us for keeping our counts to a minimum. Next, we have our grammarian's report with Toastmaster Adarsh.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. All right. So this is my grammarian report for today. Just a minute. Yeah. Now I'll tell all of you that I had a wonderful time listening to each and every one of you. And there was never a time that I felt that you had made a bad usage. And I'm being very, very honest. I'm being very, very honest when I say that there was almost never a time when I sensed a bad usage. I mean, starting from the essay to the general evaluator, I could sense very few flaws. But regardless, I'm going to go ahead and state all the notable usages that I came across during the course of the meeting. The essay, well, I could say that the essay could have probably used a few more words, but it doesn't really matter. I think he had a good energy, and I think he was able to go ahead and do a pretty good job. The presiding officer was not just a presiding officer, but he was a table topic speaker. He was the evaluator, and I think he had some excellent usages. But one of the words that really caught my eye was the word accentuate. By the way, the word accentuate means something that to make something more noticeable and prominent, something that I just read and learned today. Thank you very much for that. Our joke master, who also happened to be speaker number one, was Toastmaster Joseph, and he had an interesting phrase, an interesting word. The interesting word is octogenarian, which is something that you use to refer to someone beyond the age of 80, which he certainly is, but you wouldn't be able to tell. Ignominious darkness was a phrase that he happened to use, and I think that was very, very fitting. It was very telling of that moving and emotional story that he put across. And I think there was an amazing show of emotion and affirmation towards his wife that I felt was properly encapsulated using those words. Toastmaster Deepa, who happened to be the Toastmaster of the day, had some excellent usages, and I think some of them was part of her education session of sorts today. I think she spoke about various things that we can do to speed up our reading. I think one of them was to skim through the titles. I think all of this may not be the best usage when you look at it on paper, but I think when you look at it from the perspective of the session in general, I think it literally fits into what we're trying to achieve here. The word etymology was used properly, and I think there was a great emphasis that she threw towards each intro. And I think one of the lines that she mentioned when introducing someone was, "She is from the royal city of Mysore." I think she literally went ahead and she added an adjective to the city, the noun, and that just made it so much better. Formidable Toastmaster, another adjective that was used, and I really liked it a lot. Moving on to speaker number two. Speaker number two had a lot of phrases and words, and I truly loved every bit of it. But one of the things that he could have probably done was slow down a bit because I was not able to catch a few things. But regardless, he had a quote from Napoleon Hill, which was very, very fitting. The word manifestation was used well, and he had three things as part of his speech that he wanted all of us to follow, and that was desire, belief, and expectancy. And he also went ahead and spoke about the well-known concept, which is the law of attraction, which was very nice. The evaluator number two was Toastmaster Shubhadeep, and Toastmaster Shubhadeep had a very smooth flow of words that I enjoyed quite a lot. Now, I think the usage of grammar was really, really precise as part of his report. There were a couple of acronyms that I don't quite understand, that is MPI and ROS. Maybe I was not listening well, but I think that's something I'll have to check with the listener on. The table topics master was brilliant in her usage. I think the table topics were incredible, so to speak. I don't have anything to add to that. And moving on to our table topic speakers, I think there was an excellent usage of imageries and similes and metaphors from all of them as part of the table topic session. I think Toastmaster Meena was very imaginative, and she had this immersive tone that really got me involved, and it was truly brilliant. And her diction was truly immense as part of the table topic. Toastmaster Bidu, as I said, was very imaginative and immersive. Myself, well, I'll get to that in a moment. And finally, Kamini and Debashish, no usage, no bad usages, all of them were excellent. And I think they were true to what the table topic was supposed to be. Now, I'd like all of you to answer me one question before I close my supposed Romanian report. I happen to use the word peruse or perusing in a different way as part of my table topic. I use the word peruse or perusing as perusive. Now, I'd like all of you to tell me, is that an excellent usage? I'd like to ask a question to Toastmaster Meena. Toastmaster Meena, do you think my usage of the word peruse or perusing good as part of the Romanian report, because I used the word perusive?
Peruse can use as a verb. Perusing, perused could be, but perusive, I do not know if that usage is there.
Absolutely right. So the word peruse, the word perusing is the present participle of the word peruse. The word perusive is not a word. And for all of you that thought it was a word today, I quite rightly deceived you. But regardless, all of you are free to go ahead and use the word peruse or perusing, because I happen to peruse all of your speeches and table topics today and have a wonderful time. Over to you and back to you just a minute. I'm having a hard time. Regardless, back to you.
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Adarsh, for your exhaustive report and for reminding us like 2-3 times via chat to use the word of the day. That is some great commitment over there. Now, quickly moving on to the table topic, Master Distinguished Toastmaster Kavita. Yes, all your table topics were really out of the box, and they are the kind that inspire creativity. You asked everybody to use the word of the day, perfect reminder. You kept all of the topics within the theme, and you even gave a beautiful introduction to the table topics, along with a specific something that you needed. What kind of person that you wanted each table topic speaker to be. So thank you for mentioning that and for entertaining us with an amazing table topic session. To the table topic speakers, most of them spoke for more than 2 minutes, and I was in awe at your imagination and the amazing stories that you came up with, the humor that everybody had during the speeches, and the fact that Toastmaster Kavita did not have to pick her prey. There were volunteers ready to have fun with the table topic session. So kudos to everybody. The meeting on the whole, many people had their cameras open. Good job on that. Everybody in the meeting seems to be very encouraging and motivating in nature, judging by how they all stood up to clap at the end of the icebreaker speech and at the end of many of the sessions as well. And one of the highlights of this meeting for me was how everybody was almost perfect while doing their roles, and the articulation and grammar that everybody has in this meeting, like Toastmaster Adarsh mentioned, is one of a kind. So with that, I end my general evaluators report and back to the TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Malia, for that incisive analytical report for us. Thank you for being part of Speech Weavers today. And I think we missed somebody in the general evaluators report, which is none other than the listener. So may I call on the listener for today, are none other than our area director, Prerna, to quiz us with a few questions and test us how intently listening we were. Over to Prerna.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepa. So let's start with some fun questions. How many words can a college student speak in average per minute?
200 to 250.
Correct. Toastmaster Bidu has been a part of Toastmasters for how long?
2 years.
Correct. What was the title for the first speaker? Speech title for the first speaker?
Resilience.
Reminiscing.
Remnants. Yeah.
Reminiscence.
What is the first secret that Toastmaster Deepa shared with us today for speed reading?
Be quick in reading. What is that? Fast enough.
Look for the essence.
Have a sense of urgency.
That was the third one.
No sense. Having the sense of urgency was the first one. Okay. Whose mind does Toastmaster Bidu wants to read?
His own.
Deepa.
His own and Deepa's.
Yeah. What was the name of the club? There was a naming convention today done by Toastmaster Adarsh. So what was the name of the club? He just mentioned.
Yusuf. He coined a new word actually.
Neologism.
So Toastmaster Deepa towards the end recommended us a book to read. What was the name of the book?
Norman Lewis.
Oh, that's the author.
Author.
It's a mirror image for me.
How to read better and
Yeah.
faster.
So Deepa has to tell us again.
How to read faster and better. Better and faster.
How to read better and faster. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm assuming that everyone is a good listener here in the meeting today. I had an amazing time. Back to the TMOD, Toastmaster Deepa.
Thank you, Prerna, for testing us. And I think we were all intently listening to the meeting, and many of them have picked up the secrets of speed reading. Many of them have been listening to the adventures and reliving it. Thank you for that. And now I think I'd like to hand over the stage to our presiding officer. But before that, I left out one important thing: your reading speed, right? All you have to do is 132. The passage had 132 words. Multiply it with 60 divided by the number of seconds you took to read it, and you have your speeding minutes, words per minute reading. So aim for 20 to 30% higher with the techniques that have already been shared. It is possible to do that with a little bit of practice. So with that, over to the presiding officer, Toastmaster Bidu.
Thank you, Toastmasters of the day, Toastmasters Deepa. You gave an excellent demonstration of speed reading through explanation, through practical examples, and I'm sure most of us will be benefited from your insights. Norman Lewis, How to Read Better and Faster. I'm definitely going to check this book in Amazon or Flipkart, whichever is cheaper, but I'll try to get it delivered as soon as possible. And all the practices that you mentioned, sense of urgency, skimming through, practicing a lot, I personally would like to adopt a little bit more, because we are living in a busy world and we cannot leave the habit of reading, because it actually helps us to think more. And for a lot of people, reading is a bit of relaxation as well. Overall, I thank all the role takers who did a terrific job. We are always excited to host you in Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club. When we see non-members, we always feel encouraged and satisfying, and we try to push ourselves to deliver our best. Table Topics Masters, Toastmaster Kavita, a special mention to you, because I think you did a terrific job. As you might have seen in the responses during the segment, a lot of smileys were thrown around, a lot of comments in the comment section, which goes to show how engaging the session was. In the meantime, I would like to request others to send the voting link in the chat box.
Bidu, the voting link is there in the chat. All of you are free to go ahead and vote.
Yes, and I urge everyone to cast the votes, because most of the role takers did perform to the best standards, and it would be interesting to see who outvotes whom. In the meanwhile, I would like to hear from some non-members, because today we have many, to have their thoughts about what they thought about our meeting. Let me start with Meena, who has been joining us consistently. Meena, what do you like about our club?
I'm feeling like I'm an adopted member to this club. I don't feel like a guest anymore. So, but I really loved the meeting as always. the way the joke, I missed the joke master session. That is one thing which I regret because I joined a little late. But as usual, every session, especially the table topics master by TM Kavita, I thoroughly enjoyed every session, the education session from TMOD, and every session, of course, absolutely, it was brilliant and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you, Toastmaster Bidu.
Thank you so much, Toastmasters Meena. You can get the Joke Masters segment in the recording itself. We will upload it in our guest group. Toastmasters Kavita, Toastmaster Meena referred you, and I would also like to know, how did you get this idea of having this kind of a table topic session?
Very organic. I saw the theme and it said something about reading. And so I usually try to relate it to the theme because I think we get a comprehensive idea of what we do. So it was an effort towards that, but I couldn't do speed reading because she was already covering that. So I gave a little different perspectives to reading, like mind reading and cave reading and painting reading and things like that. So that was it. I thoroughly enjoyed cooking up these topics. I still have a couple of them left, and I knew we could just do about 4 or 5. However, I wanted to have a choice. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me, Bidu.
Yeah, we would love to have you again sometime next week or following, whenever you are free.
Sure.
Toastmasters Dhwani, I think you have joined us for the first time, if I'm not wrong, or where you were part of Speech Weavers earlier also as a guest.
Hello, thank you so much for inviting me. I got invited by Toastmaster Adarsh, where he offered me the grammarian role, but then I was like, I don't want to do the grammarian, I want to take up the timer role, and then we swapped. So because of him, I'm here today. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lovely meeting. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Others, just because I was speaking to the timer and I had heard that everybody was on time. Are the votings ready yet? Because we have already closing on our timing of 6:30.
Yes, apologies. I just got a vote. I just got a vote from someone. So we have a total of 9 responses. I'll quickly go ahead and stop accepting the responses. So here are your winners for today's meeting. The best supporting role taker for today was, it's split between 2 people. It's split between the joke master, Toastmaster Joseph, and our Zoom master, Toastmaster Bidu. Congratulations to both of you. The best role taker for today's meeting was, let me see, without a shadow of a doubt, it was the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Deepa. Congratulations, Toastmaster Deepa. All right, moving to the best auxiliary role taker for today's meeting. It was, again, it's split between 2 people. It's split between the listener, Toastmaster Prerna. Thank you very much for joining us, Miss Aya B1 Director. And then it was, let me see, the timer, Toastmaster Dhwani. Thank you very much for joining us from the Gabbies. The best evaluator for today's meeting was Toastmaster Shubhadeep. Toastmaster Shubhadeep, our president. But of course, Toastmaster Bidu also came pretty close. Congratulations to both of you anyway. The best speaker for today's meeting was Toastmaster Joseph. Toastmaster Joseph Felix Benedict was our best speaker, and not by a mile, to be honest. I think Toastmaster Debashish was very, very close, to be honest. The best table topic speaker for today's meeting, I think this is the most interesting part of the voting session, if I'm not wrong. It goes to Toastmaster Kamini. Thank you very much for joining us from the Gabbies and the Rising Speakers Toastmasters Club. Back to you, Presiding Officer, Toastmaster Bidu.
Bidu, you're on mute.
Okay, I just got lost when someone presented me the best Zoom master, so I just forgot to use the Zoom a little bit. So thank you, others, for conducting this voting session. Congratulations to all the winners, to all the role takers who have won today. And for the rest of them, there's always the next day. Keep trying hard. You will always come on the winning side someday or the next. With this, I close this meeting.
Photo session.
We have taken photos in between. So I was the photographer, so it's fine.
I think, Bidu, I think it'd be nice in case of all of us can turn on our cameras and take a photo. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, sure. So I'll give you 4 or 5 more seconds to put on your cameras, whoever wants to put on the camera, and I'll just announce it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put up your smileys, best faces, and here we go. Thank you so much. And with this, I call this meeting a close. Thank you everyone for joining on a Friday.